Hey guys, how you doing? It's another Sunday night, and we are into the toy box. We've got a good guest lined up for you tonight. I'm going to go ahead and bring out the co-hostess with the mostest. Hey,
Hello.
how are you doing?
Good. Good. How about
Good.
yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's been a good Sunday for waiting to get this party started tonight. So, um, how's the weather in your area?
Had a little bit of rain, which a lot less than I was thinking we were going to get, but some cooler temperatures. But now it's starting to heat up again. But so
Awesome.
yeah, not too bad from all the hurricane stuff.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. We've gotten a little bit of rain, but not very much. So, I'm gonna call it good
Yeah,
for that.
all the
I
wind.
know
Yeah.
there's other people that are getting hammered right now. So, anyway. Um,
Yeah.
so we have a good guest on tonight.
hmm
I'm pretty sure you guys follow this guy on Instagram, and we're going to go ahead and bring
And
him
if
out.
you don't, you should.
That's right, Mos Eisley Photography.
Hey,
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 hey, what's up?
not much. How are you doing?
Good to be on the show. Big fan.
Thanks.
yeah.
Thanks for
Thanks
coming
for
on.
being on here with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So we were just talking. So what part of the Okay, so are you like in Missouri or someplace close to that?
Yeah, I live in St. Louis, Missouri, smack dab
Oh,
in the middle of the United States.
Cool.
gotcha. Yeah. All right, I know what that is. That's just directly above me, pretty much.
You're in Arkansas?
So, yeah, I live in Arkansas. Yes, pretty much
Okay.
central Arkansas. So I think I'm, if I'm not mistaken, I think 6 hours away. I think that's how far away it is.
All
Um,
right.
used to have
Yeah.
to go around there to get to Omaha. So or go through there, I think, to get to Omaha.
Uh,
So anyway, so you doing all right?
Yeah, man. Actually, this morning, there was a toy convention in St. Louis, the Toy Man Toy Show. I've been going to that since I
Oh,
was a little
yeah.
kid. So, did some hunting and got some fodder pieces for more builds, and I hang out with a few other guys on Instagram, like STC Forge and
Mhm.
Photonic
Mhm.
Figures, and so I hung out with those guys at their booth,
Cool,
and
cool,
it's been a fun day of action figures, man. Now I get to be on the show with
Cool.
you guys.
awesome. So do they have that convention like every so many months or something, or is it quarterly?
Generally, it's about every 3 months, I believe,
Okay,
and they
Yeah.
do it in Bridgeton, um,
okay.
and man, I've been going to this thing since I was like 13 years old, so it's a long running convention.
I
Nice.
wish we had something like that here, but in Arkansas, it's just not really like, there's just not really there's not very much toy stuff that goes on here. So,
Yeah. Tell
Well,
them
if
it's
you
so
ever
much
want to come
better.
up for one, either of you guys, because also we have a lot of good collector toy shows, toy stores around here, so you can do
uh,
the convention, then hit up a few good places to shop.
Oh,
gotcha.
that sounds interesting.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, Bob, I guess you want to say hello to the chat, I guess.
Yes, indeed. First up here, we've got Bjorn,
Hey,
Bjorn.
yeah.
and looks like Starboy Station is having some problems with the J.G. Wentworth song. Fortunately, I don't know what that is, so it won't get stuck in my head. So,
it's bad. It's really bad.
oh, I'm sure it is. I know, like the Liberty Mutual one gets stuck in on
Oh
me.
yeah, those ones are really catchy. It's terrible.
Right.
Yeah. Ian's here,
Hey, yeah,
giving us a good
thanks for
aloha.
staying up. Thanks for
Aloha.
staying. Yeah.
And let's see, then we got a bunch of these guys chatting amongst themselves. Hang on here though, we've got Jabalong in
Hey,
Toy
Jeff.
City.
Thanks for staying up as well.
Defiant's here with us.
Hey,
I
Defiant.
might follow that guy. I don't know if I follow him or not. I don't
Oh, you
remember.
should look him up. He's got some good
I
stuff.
will after this.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MCR, welcome
Hey,
back.
hey. Yeah, I'm
And oh,
pretty sure. So I guess,
Florida
hey,
Thing here with
Laura
us.
yeah,
Thing,
so
big fan
guys,
of
Yeah.
that guy.
if you aren't following him, go follow him like after the stream is over. So he has really good stuff that he puts on. So, all right.
Like
The one guy from the
Bjorn.
city said STC Forge has really good stuff. Yeah, he's kind of a mentor in helping me paint vehicles and stuff, and I think he does some of the best custom vehicle painting I've ever seen. STC Forge.
Yeah,
we were
he
talking about.
I'm
definitely.
following him, but I'll double check that.
I believe you do.
So we've got pictures from your Insta that we're going to show tonight. And I guess we'll go ahead and pull those
Well,
out.
before we get into the pictures, do we want to give him a chance to tell the audience something about himself? How he got into collecting and toy photography and
Sure, I can. Yeah, great question. I've been into action figures since I was a teeny tiny kid, man. It's just been a lifelong passion. Most of my life, you play with them when you were a little kid. When you're a teenager, you collect them, but you kind of like, keep them locked away so girls that you bring over don't see them, but you still got it going on. But it was sometime in my late 30s, maybe mid 30s. I was just browsing Instagram and I saw my first, toy photo of like toy photography. And that was just a huge inspirational game changer. All of a sudden I wanted to open my figures and take photos of them. Like a lot of the people I started following immediately. It started once I got into the photography, like the toy photography, I realized real quick, like I'm taking the same photos of the same guys that everyone has, or the same thing over and over again. So I started building my own figures, and then you need the backgrounds to make them look like they're in a real environment. So I started building those, and then, junk to put in the streets. And then the next thing you know, I'm into world building and doing vehicles and the whole shebang. Just taking photos, and it's been a really fun hobby for the last few years. And a lot of inspiration comes from everybody I follow on Instagram. Like looking at all the cool stuff you guys build makes me want to try and build my own.
Thank you. I think everybody's trying to find their way. With the toy photography. It's kind of crazy. It's like, like you said, you've got your action figures and stuff like that. And so once you start taking pictures of those, it's like, well, I need something, to not just take pictures of them on a shelf. That's fine. But it's like, I want to have them where they look like they belong somewhere.
They're doing their business. They're
That's
just
right.
going about their day.
That's right.
And now with toy photography, it's such a fun hobby because one, anybody any age can do it. It gets you out using your toys again as an art medium also. And with the apps and photo effects today, I mean, your imagination is the limit. And some of the photos we see online are just so incredible. I would have never thought of that,
now like they've even got like all the little lighting kits and stuff that are like small enough that you can put them on your table and or wherever you do your shoots and whatnot. Is just incredible. So it's
and you were saying that you're pretty much mostly modular with all your stuff, right?
Correct. Now, like a lot of people are into building bases in their own cities, which is awesome. But since I wanted to focus on photography, I really looked at it like a movie set, like my own little miniature movie set. The figures are the actors. They're the movie stars. You put them in anything and they're going to do their part and play the role. The trick is building the environment so that you believe that, all of a sudden they're bigger and they really are alive and doing these things. So instead, if I built a singular base, I would have shot it from every angle within the first week, and that would have been it. But with building like these little set pieces that I can shoot from different angles and, line up with each other, now I can make hundreds of configurations. And, with new figures or, building new figures, it just all of a sudden I'm not limited, I can keep using it. And I think I've been using these Tatooine dioramas now for a few years, and I'm still coming up with great new shots, and it almost never looks the same.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it,
Yeah.
Here, I want to go back. I'm going to click on this.
All right. From Bjorn, yeah.
Hey, have you heard about Figtober?
No.
Okay, well, pretty much, it's pretty much been created by like Starboy Station. So the whole month of October, he's got this plan to post one new custom a day. And so some of us have decided to jump in on that. And so for the month of October, we're going to post customs like for the whole month, right? And
it's a great idea.
It's kind of like Inktober, for artists, but we're going to take Figtober. His son is an artist, and so he sort of threw that out as a challenge to him. And so we're going to, I think there's going to be a lot of people that get into it. I don't know. I mean, you're not obligated to do anything, but most people are going to probably post a few. But if anyone wants to do it, all you have to do is just post your custom and then just hashtag Figtober. And so that will hopefully generate, a hashtag following of that. And so we'll see a lot of people's customs for that month. So we're kind of hoping that it gets to be a thing. And so next year, maybe be bigger, and we might have like a prompt, for like a certain day, like day 2 or day 1 space pirate or something like that. Day 2, bounty hunter or alien or something, So this year we're just keeping it open and casual, and going to see, how it goes. But anyway, that's the whole idea behind Figtober. And so October, a couple days away. It's like some of us have been like, working on it for about the past month, and some of us, might have only got started like a couple days ago. But it's not that you have to build one for the particular day at the day of. It's just you got to have one to show the day of, and it's something that's that you've kind of created recently and that no one else has seen, and so they're kind of keeping it like that. But
my understanding is any scale, any line of stuff it's all good to go.
That's right. Anyway, that was the Figtober spiel of the stream. Going back to what you're saying,
that's a great idea. I'm totally down to participate in that because I've got a bunch of projects I've been working on, and they're kind of bottlenecking, so I can post for that.
Right, because I think anybody that like makes customs and stuff always has, a bunch of stuff that they've got in their minds that they want to make, a bunch of stuff that they've kind of started and not finished. At least for me, it is. I've got like, I'm always usually having 4 or 5, new figures I'm trying to tweak a little bit, whether it's just a head swap or, I'll get super serious about it and change some arms and legs and stuff like that. But for me, a simple head swap sometimes is enough, and so that's, there's not going to be any rules for this. Hey, Tim. But
sometimes you're right. Just changing the outfit just looks so much sicker. You're like, whoa, that's great in that outfit. Usually I'll do a little bit of detail painting. I don't change, every possible part. But,
right. Yeah, it's whatever people feel comfortable with, with as far as like, hey, famine, swapping parts and stuff like that. Like for me, I don't really swap a whole lot of arms and legs, just because, it's not something I'm really super comfortable doing all the time, unless it's like a action figure that is pretty easy to like Acid Rain figures. You can swap those. Joy Toy, you can swap those around pretty easy.
The newer ones are definitely easier to swap limbs because everything's poppable now. You can just run it under hot water, and then it loosens it up.
But I think it was cool how you're talking about how you're going for more modular because of the people people that have their stations and stuff are like more that once they're built, right, and so you can only shoot so many sides from it, whatever.
Shit. Sorry, I spilled my soda. Keep going. I got it.
I think that people, they, for me, I sort of feel the same way about that. And so when I started, I was pretty much just making up a sort of new setup every time I took a picture, because I didn't have, a base or a structure or something like that. So I sort of had to just make it up all the time. And I always laughed that I was just, smoke and mirrors because I just had like one little small table, and I just had stuff I put on there, and I would just rearrange it and change things out and stuff.
But it works, and that's the way they did it in the movies that we grew up watching. You know,
I mean, that's
it works.
You
it's
know,
the movie.
so,
it's the magic. Yeah, the smoke and mirrors.
And so the accessories almost make the set sometimes. You know, it's like, you know, it's you know, the little boxes and canisters and cans and the, you know, little machines and stuff that you all have all in, you know, whatever. That's just as, to me, just as good as the actual figures, because you got to have something to go with it, you know?
Yeah. And with the general mundane day-to-day paying the bills, you know, it's really fun to come home and set up a cool scene, you know, and take a photo, share it with everybody, and then the next day, you know, you take it down, build a whole new one, man. You know,
I'll say that now that I have more of a, I would say permanent setup, even though I can still move things around. But it's like I have most of it set up now to where it's kind of like it's kind of a permanent setup right now. But it does, like, I keep looking like, okay, so this, I've already taken a picture here this week. Let me go down a little bit. You know, it's like, okay, I took a picture there. Let me find another spot that's not the same spots all the time. So I've been even changing that up a little bit to where I'm like, okay, I got to shoot it from this side, you know, because I don't want to keep everybody say, oh, well, here's the same hallway again. Here's the same hallway again, you know.
You do a pretty great job. You know, it always looks different, you know, and it looks like a whole cityscape. You do multi-level shots pretty well.
I appreciate it. You know, you're trying to keep it fresh, you know. And so some of it, I don't mind having some of the same shots because I've got different characters and I'm kind of doing a people live on this planet. So you're going to see some of the same areas over and over. So I do kind of want to have people see some of the same stuff. So they're like, oh, I know where that's at. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you're gonna notice if you really start paying attention to all my photos, you'll kind of notice the same panel, you know. You'll notice familiar panels and stuff. It is what it is, but it's regardless, it's a great time, and I love your world building, man. Like, you do some great paint jobs with your facades and everything like that. I think they look cool.
I love your stuff too, man. It's like I love to see other people's setups, you know, and what they do, because that definitely gives me inspiration as well. You know, it's like I'm not going to copy the whole thing or anything like that, but it's like it gives me an idea. You know, and it's like the idea will, like, you know, it'll move around in my mind and it'll come out how I see it. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, bingo, you're gonna put your own flair on it. But I mean, I think there's what I've loved about the action figure building community here is nobody gatekeeps knowledge. Like, if you say, like, I love what you built here, how'd you do this? They're gonna tell you. They're gonna tell you every shade of paint they used, you know, the techniques. People love sharing the creativity. And
I have not heard one time where somebody, I've asked somebody, hey, you know, what did you do there? You know, and they're like, I'm not telling you. You know, it's like I haven't that one time. You know, so yeah, it's a good community. It's a fun hobby. You know what I'm saying? It's a hobby. You know, it's you're meant to just have fun with it. You know, nothing serious. You know, like I'm not. You know, I'm wanting to, you know, take my time and do something that I like, and that's pretty much it, you know.
You know what's crazy is once I picked up toy photography, I gave up video games. Like, you know, I played a lot of video games, but now I'd rather be setting up a photography shoot, you know, using my imagination, you know, using my brain than sitting there playing the video game. But it's that I think it's a healthy hobby also mentally to take when you're painting, just to zone out, you know, and do that for a little while. It's a good thing to do every now and then.
I agree with that. I also think that, you know, we do a lot of this because we don't really have the money to be making movies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us would be making movies if we had the money, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what we're doing with a lot of the stuff, is telling stories and stuff, you know, and, you know, to me, that's how I kind of, you know, treat this as. I'm basically just making like a little movie snippet, you know, with my, you know, Instagram posts, you know. So
and all the stations, man, are so much fun to keep up with and see the activity going on. Like, some people who do build their bases create a whole story and characters around it that you start seeing over and over again, and it's just so great to see what everybody does.
Yeah, it's a good community for sure. I mean, it's and there's a ton of people out there, and I'm glad that I don't know if I know everyone, but I know a lot of them, and they all are pretty good people, So, with that, we're gonna get to the pictures. We're gonna go ahead and do that. Bob, have you been posting the chat recently? I can't really. Okay.
Yeah, Star Wars world building is in totally.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Absolutely.
Totally agree with that. And it's a great way to just kind of escape all the hassle of the world, all the day-to-day hassle stuff.
Instead of sitting on your butt watching TV,
Yeah.
That's right.
Then Tempo here brought up something real quick before we get going on that about Dio December.
Yeah, Tempo, that was on you, bro. You're the only one. Well, not the only one, but you make a lot of dioramas, so maybe you can get on that, Let's see here. So, man, I love this shot.
Yeah, that one was a date gone wrong. If you can kind of tell, Lando's out having some food with a Twi'lek, and all of a sudden these 3 other Twi'leks are walking in. He's busted.
Um,
That's right. I love the Ponda Babas walrus people in the background.
Yeah, they're checking in the background. That was supposed to be them like going up to the stewardess. It's supposed to be like in a little hut cafe or something.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool picture there.
The caption in it was also like the Calrissian Chronicles, like like he was talking about in the Solo movie. It was about him getting busted.
Gotcha. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this one looks real good.
He was my favorite part of that whole show, and I loved that show, man. It's my favorite. That's some of the best Star Wars I've ever seen, and Luthen's by far the coolest character on the show.
Oh,
yeah. It was a pretty good show. Yeah, it was a good show for sure. I can't wait for the next season. So hopefully, I think it's supposed to come out this year, right? Or no, not this year.
I think it's next year.
Next year, okay, yeah.
That shot was used. That was a Batman play set part for one, like the access chemicals or whatever on the, the Batman play set that folds into 3 panels. That's one of those panels, and I just painted it silver, and then used just a plastic steel girder kind of in the middle, and then basically blew my vape on it to create some fog, and that with one light, shining on him, and the other side just blank. So that was pretty easy setup, and that photo is one of the best I've ever done, man. That was a great photo.
I like the depth in there because Luthen's like really sharp and in focus, but then with the smoke and the background's a little bit, gives it a little hazy look, makes him kind of pop out a lot more, it seems like.
And I'm doing this with an old iPhone. So if anybody watching thinks like, oh, I can't do toy photography, I don't have the right equipment. I mean, look what I'm doing with the bare minimum here, Now,
is that a Black Series figure?
Yes, correct. That is a 6-inch. I do have a good size 6-inch collection because they're better for photos, but I'm really more into the 375s.
Yeah, I wish they had him in vintage collection.
God, so do I.
It's who knows what goes on through their minds, but it's like I would really, like to have. I would take every character from that movie, from that show, just because.
When they released figures, they released like 2 versions of Cassian Andor, and then like Vel, and I can't remember if there was like anybody else. It was like a weird release of figures for that show because the show was so great and had so many good potential figures.
I have a fairly good collection of Black Series figures as well, but I used to shoot with some of those back before I kind of mostly just went to 1/18th world building, and so now I'll pick them up occasionally for like. I've been talking about building like a 1/12 diorama, and I don't know when it will happen, but I'm sure it will happen at some point in time. Just because I've got other figures I would like to take pictures of, and so and they don't have them in the vintage collection currently. So it's like
I can incorporate so much more with the 375s, vehicle speeders, everything's around that size. So but the 6-inch, they're still a lot of fun to take photos with, man. They look great.
Right.
Oh yeah. So that was a fun one.
So I noticed, so you sent this, and so it was a small little video, which I do not want to play any video on this site because it pretty much tends to shut it down pretty much because of, I don't know, the bandwidth or whatever, but
sure.
Anyway, a cool shot. I love that character. I don't have that.
Dr. Afra.
Yeah, I don't have that figure. Just because. So my story is, I had a ton of toys from my childhood, and they just long story short, they got thrown away by accident. Hey, dead man. Cheers, brother. And so I started back buying Star Wars figures again, like after they were re-released, Power of the Force and all that stuff. And I bought a few, here and there, but I pretty much kept them in a package just because, whatever. And so I kept buying more figures as the movies kept coming out, episodes 1, 2, and 3. And then by the time the Clone Wars cartoon came out, I was buying like everything that came out figure wise. And I was like, well, I'll just give them to my kids or whatever, and they can play with them. Well, long story short, I ended up getting a divorce, and my kids didn't really care for that size figures. So I ended up pretty much getting rid of most of all that stuff. And then lo and behold, like I said, I got back into it with the Mandalorian with Black Series figures. And then so I pretty much all the 1/18 figures I have now, I bought since pretty much the Mandalorian going forward. And so there's been plenty that slipped through the cracks, that I don't have them all for sure, but I got, the ones I wanted to show in my world. And so anyway, I'll get her at some point in time, but it's like I don't have like every cool figure that's out there for sure. So
she was a little pricey on eBay, and it's easier to find her in 6-inch than it is in 375. She's a sought after character, but I definitely wanted to use her in some shots because she's a cool freaking character, and her hashtag gets a lot of followers, which I know sounds terrible, but
yeah. It's a good character, so
well, also a good figure if you just want a kind of almost generic person just walking down the street kind of character.
Yeah, we need more of those, to be honest with you, because
that's why I build my customs. Is because
we don't have enough of those, so
you can always throw your main guys in with them and they blend right in, but I think it's great to have just unseen background aliens that we're all familiar with. That was always my favorite part of Star Wars.
Yeah, 7 figures from Bad Batch series and 1 on TV. So yeah, you're preaching to the choir. Yeah, yeah. It's like that's the one thing to me. I'm just like, I'm so baffled by it. It's like, why do they not have? Thanks, Brad. Why do they not have the rest of the Bad Batch? It's like, why would you even release one of them if you're not going to release the rest of them?
Yeah.
I could see if they were going to like stretch it out over time. Like, when the Mandalorian figures first came out, we just got a few. And then over the years, we've gotten more. But Bad Batch, they did Hunter, and then they haven't done more. It's just like, that's what I'm saying. That's what's so baffling about that. It's like, we still don't have Peli Motto yet, from Mandalorian.
I had to build my own.
Yeah, I'm just holding out till they make one, and then I hope to God it looks good enough to where I want to use it as her. But I don't know. It's like because I don't want to have to make one, but I'm playing chicken with Hasbro, seeing what's going to happen first. I like the shop too.
Right.
I use this app called Warble. You can always see the watermark of it in the bottom corner, but they let you add in lighting effects, so you can do some really cool stuff with it. And it's taken my photos to the next level using that app.
Oh, it's called
Warble, yeah, Werble. You can add all kinds of effects on top of your photos to make them really come alive more. That Jawa in the center, he's kind of in a mech suit. You can tell he's like in like this round mechanical suit. Right above that was built by Photonic Figures, and he let me borrow that to take some shots with.
I'll have to see if I follow him. I'm not sure. I'm pretty
he does
sure.
3D printing. He does a lot of cool robot work. He's part of our Kit Bash club.
Okay, and that's part of, is that the sci-fi diorama guy too?
He's all, yeah, that Chris is we're all in this group together. We all meet up and do builds and paints together, and we started an Instagram for it. But yeah, it's called Kit Bash Club, where we all do that.
Cool.
It's cool. That's cool that you guys have a local area where you guys can all meet up and do stuff like that. That's pretty special. Just so you know.
Very fortunate. Yeah, we all know it's great. Because you can use somebody's paints, or we swap parts all the time. Right. It's just super fun.
Yeah, that would be cool, because I think most of us are scattered across the universe.
Yeah, like Mandalorians.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think there's anyone in Arkansas that does that. So it's just me, I guess. Unless I find that
there's got to be somebody else around. Man, toy photography has gotten so big. I think.
Yeah, you would think
it's going to be in every state now.
Let's see here.
Yes.
Jason has a kick-ass, I think it's pretty much a whole room where he has like a miniature train set up. I don't know if you've ever seen his setup, but he's got like a whole room set up for like a miniature train. And then he has started working last year on his 1/18th sci-fi build, and he's like going to incorporate a monorail or something in that world. So and it's supposedly so many years in the future from his his train world. So it's
that's
cool. Some of the names, I think, if I'm saying this is right, some of the names that he has, for some of the companies in his current miniature train world will, I think, be in the his sci-fi 1/18th world. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, Bjorn, I feel your pain. Same situation here. Not really much of. Yeah, well, at least not 1/18 world builders. There's one guy that does some 10mm world building and tabletop wargaming, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. I guess it few and far between. I don't know what it is about the Midwest. A lot of action figure people here in St. Louis,
Yeah, Joel. I wonder who else would be in Utah. Yeah, maybe Utah Don, maybe. Yeah. But yeah.
I also wonder though, how many people are out there just cruising Instagram with a big action figure collection. They start looking at what we're doing, and they're like, "Well, I want to do that," and they start finding some old shelves to start making some props and stuff.
Well, I can tell you this: when I started, which was basically a couple years ago, there were a lot fewer then than there are now. So it's I know, that, it's not a huge, following, but it's bigger than what it was. And I hope it gets bigger,
same
year, it's, I think a lot of people, when they realize that they have, their collection, nothing against this, but they have it, in the package and stuff, it's cool and everything. But I think sometimes they get to the point where they get frustrated because of whatever reason. And I think that's when people, start opening stuff up, because it's it's a cool use of your toys, pretty much.
If I would have seen, if I would have seen myself opening toys like I do now, years ago, I would have been like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" But it's whatever you want to do, they're your toys. But I definitely have to say, like, it's a lot of fun, and it feels like being a kid again. You know, setting them up how you like and taking shots to keep.
Yeah. I think it's more. It's definitely not a mainstream thing, but I think it's becoming a little bit more of a mainstream thing. You know, with each month that goes by. You know, I mean, there's some people that are, they're into toy photography and they have 30 and 40,000 people follow them and stuff like that, and there's some that have less than 50. But they're doing pretty good work themselves. So.
Jablogging in Toy City asked if I knew Rykoff Enlo Customs. He also lives in St. Louis. I don't know that guy. I've never heard that, but I'll definitely look it up after we wrap this up.
He's associated with Yak Face, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think he's one of the guys that, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's one of the guys that helps run Yak Face. I think that's who that is. But yeah,
if he's from here, he probably goes to the Toyman show, and we could meet up and talk there. The next one in November.
But yeah, this is a great shot there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good one. Yeah, it was a cute one. I call that one Star Friends.
That's cool. I don't really take a lot of stuff outside much. But that's a really good one for sure. One of the reasons is because I don't really have I'd have to really go outside and make something happen. I don't have anything here at my house, but we have like a little trail down the road that leads to a walking trail. And I'd be
surprised what you can do down there. Like with the little guys, it's harder. These were 6-inch, so you can make more of it. But
yeah, but yeah, this good. Looks like it's a great shot. I mean, it looks like they're definitely size appropriate to the scene.
My family has some really nice woodland property out near Rolla, Missouri, and every now and then I go out there to spend a weekend, and whenever I do, I bring a backpack full of action figures because I know I'm going to be out there in the woods finding great spots to do something creative with. That's where I do a lot of my Indiana Jones shots, is out there.
Oh, nice. Well,
I know one guy in this chat that will definitely be digging that. Starboy Station's a big Indiana Jones fan, so
dude, I love Starboy Station. Oh my god, that guy does great stuff.
Yeah, he does great stuff, man. Great stuff. Are these Black Series here?
These are, this is a mixture, and this is 375. So you have two vintage collection on the left and in the middle.
Gotcha.
And I basically used a Riva, but swapped her head with Barris Offrey and painted it black for that. That Tales of the Empire episode. I thought that was a pretty cool series, and I wanted an Inquisitor Barris.
That's cool.
That Vader is like Power of the Force 2. I think that's the one where his helmet comes off and you can see like the back of his head or something. But that,
that looks like a pretty thick Vader right there. So I was like,
he is thick, yeah.
Yes.
Collection, yeah. That's I've got the.
I should open my vintage collection Vader, and just start using that one. I have it in 6-inch. That's a great figure.
Yeah, I've got the one from Obi-Wan.
Yep.
That's probably one of the best Vaders I've ever seen. So.
One thing I wish that Hasbro would do that I just don't ever see them doing it is I wish they would maybe offer another pair of hands. You know what I'm saying? Maybe an expressive pair of hands or something. Because the whole grabbing, the gun finger and just the holding, hands are cool if you're going to use a weapon or a lightsaber or something like that. But man, just another kind of like Eagle Force. To me, it's like they're perfect, man. They give you pretty much have hands for
all the hands.
Yeah, and so to me, it's like you can get so much more out of a figure with just different hands. You know what I'm saying? Because you can get basically whatever, you can get a lot of different emotion or whatever. But I wish Hasbro would do that because to me, it's like that would take it one step further. If they had like, an extra 2 pairs of hands or something that were different than just a regular trigger gun holding hands, I would think it would make a lot more shots better, with that for that right there, but that's just my opinion. I mean, it's
my only concern about like Hasbro doing that is that they would probably then make all the figures deluxe and jack up the price another $10. And
hey, spoiler alert, within probably about the next 5 years, we're probably gonna be paying that price for the Star Wars figures no matter what. So
when these figures though, like these vintage collections, when they first come out, they're pricey. But if you wait a little bit and you'll find them elsewhere, the price definitely drops. If you have,
Amazon's a place for that too. But you don't want to. I mean, you definitely want to get one, at regular price because you can't guarantee that they'll drop or that they'll even have them around later. Because some of these waves are making a lot less than what they are. The Hera wave with Chopper and who is it? Not Pre-Vizsla, but or I forgot what that guy's name was. But that was a
Paz is the one from The Mandalorian, if I'm remembering correctly. The big
there is like it's already out of production, and it's like those figures are like not made again. And so if you don't grab them for like a reasonable price now, you're gonna, they'll be super high later on. Just saying. Stormtroopers and stuff like that, you can wait on. They'll go down. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, great shot. And actually, I have to give the credit of this shot to one of the guys in our Kit Bash club, Roger. Because sometimes we're doing building, and then sometimes I have friends over to my house from the Kit Bash club to use my dioramas and their figures. Like when you were kids and you both put your action figures together, have a big battle. We literally do that for toy photography after we do our customs. So Roger in our group, he goes by Sith Lycan on Instagram, set this shot up and asked me to find the best angle for it. And I think this is an awesome shot, with young Sidious and Darth Plagueis. And the troll he's fighting, the big monster in the front, I think that's a Marvel 6-inch figure, like one of the bad guys from Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
Who had the big hammer, but
I can't
the angle we got it at there reminds me so much of either the Rancor or the Wampa approaching in either of the Star Wars movies, where you don't see the whole beast, you just see a part of it, and it really lets your imagination take off, what kind of Sith training is going on here,
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like with figures like that, less is more, right? Because you don't have to see the whole thing. You just want to sort of give like, kind of like a snapshot of how imposing it might be, So really
and sometimes you're watching another movie or something completely different on YouTube or wherever, and you just love that scene so much that you want to set up your figures to kind of mimic that shot sequence of whatever it may be, and it always comes out looking cool.
Okay, so he said, "What is Roger's IG?" I guess he didn't.
It's Sith Lycan, 90 something. Oh my goodness, I can't remember. If you actually look up STL Kit Bash Club, we all kind of have our names listed under there, and links, and our work posted and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay, you heard him, guys. You heard him. Go check that out.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'll have what she's having is what I called this one. Just a guy had 2 aliens on a date.
I love that.
You can see I crack myself up with this stuff, but it reminds you of it.
Most of the times I'm making jokes in my head. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't care if it flies, on Instagram or not, but it's like, it was funny to me, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, fun, but it can't all be serious and, no,
they can't all be action shots. Yeah, some of my favorite things about Star Wars was just the aliens going about their day-to-day life. Like, what are they doing out there? They're up to something.
That's right. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, Joel.
Here's Andy.
A great opportunity for toy photography. I can't remember who I heard say this. Somebody on YouTube or on Instagram mentioned, if you're going on vacation, take some toys, stash some toys in your bag. My family lives in Israel, and I've been going there recently just to see them and stuff like that. And so, of course, if you're going in the Middle East, you bring Indiana Jones with you. And that was at the Bible Museum in Jerusalem. We wanted to go to the Natural History Museum there because that's where they had all the Roman, just like so much cool antiquities. But that one was closed that day because they were moving all the artwork into the safes, and below because the tumultuous times. But anyways, this museum was open, and I had my Indiana Jones in my pocket, and I'd have to like look around, make sure none of the I didn't touch anything, but I got him really close to, and that was
Right.
I can't remember. That might have been Sumerian, ancient tablet of writing, and have you ever heard the story of the ancient tablet they discovered, and it was a receipt? It was a guy saying, "You ripped me off. I gave you copper, and you were supposed to deliver this, and it didn't come through." That was in this that exact receipt is a few tablets down from that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's funny. Okay. Hello, weird, fantastic toy adventures. Thanks for watching. Yeah, I haven't been on vacation very often the past couple of years, but I did go on a 5K this past year.
I can't do that. Marathon?
It was on Star Wars Day, and so I actually took like an R2, and so I took a picture of it while I was running. And
That's great.
It was. I was like, my son was wanting to run this, so I'm like, I'll run it with you, or whatever. And so I said, Star Wars Day, so you got to wear something Star Wars or do something like he's. I'm not going to do that. I'm like, okay, whatever, I will then. And so, I took a picture of R2 as I was like running, and so that was my Star Wars.
There you go. You can incorporate it into anything, man. You can do it anywhere. There again in the same museum. Beautiful antiquities in these Middle Eastern museums, man.
Yeah, if you're going to go to a museum, you got to take an Indy with you, pretty much. So that's a rule. That's awesome. So
the museum was also we went. My mom and I were there, and it was like a weekday or something, so it wasn't busy at all. So I didn't feel too shy doing this.
Now, is that a 6-inch Indy?
Yeah, correct. That's the Adventure Series 6-inch.
Gotcha.
Just the regular Temple one.
Gotcha.
The classic Indy. I mostly stick to Star Wars, but who doesn't love Indiana Jones? And for outdoor shots, he can be fantastic.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, on the Temple Mount. Top my ass. They should have brought the Ark here because that's where it really belongs. But I got a few stares for that one, but whatever, it was worth it. They kind of got what I was doing, and
it's no worse than somebody taking a selfie. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
exactly. It wasn't disturbing anybody. It was a very quiet afternoon in Jerusalem in the old city.
Yeah, exactly. You can tell them, hey, you're this famous toy photographer from America, so.
Yeah, there you go. You know what? They have people shooting documentaries on that thing every other day. So it's not the first time a camera has been, in the downtown Jerusalem Plaza.
Probably not the first time action figures have been taken, pictures of there either, I'm sure.
What was weird? Okay, it's kind of a bad joke, but I'm just gonna say it. I was doing toy photography in my second. I have dual citizenship, so I have family that lives in Israel. I go there when I can. The country, I've been there since the country's been at war, and so I was wondering, am I the very first wartime toy photographer? Instead of a wartime photographer. Bad joke, but
maybe not even that. I mean, maybe.
Possibly.
Probably.
Yeah.
I put good odds on it. Yeah.
There's no documentation to show otherwise. You get to claim that.
We'll see. Maybe we'll see. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. So. Oh,
this is nice.
Yeah. It's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, that's a good one there.
Shot on the same property that, that Chewbacca and the Ewoks, that's on my parents' property. They have a cave with a stream running out of it that is so much fun to do toy photography. And that was we were on I think it was a diaper party where a whole bunch of our buddies came out there because one of my friends is having a kid. Anyways, we go up to the cave and I was doing this shot with the canned air, my camera and the lighting's just right. And everybody was like hunched over me because they were so into what I was doing. They all thought it was cool.
Yeah, that's an awesome shot right there, for sure.
All natural lighting, and the only thing I used was the canned air, to create the mist.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one. So let me ask you this. So you take a shot and it turns out to be like one of your favorites or something. How do you try to top that, or how do you try to keep? For me, it's like if I do a shot and it's something I really like, what I'm saying, that I'm like, man, I'm proud of this. It's like if everything kind of fit together. It's like, the next shot, I'm like, okay, do I just want to take a random shot, or do I have to try to live up to that next shot because this one I thought was just so good? You know what I'm saying?
I'm never trying to outdo the last one, but every now and then a shot just comes out and it slaps you across the face. It's so good. You're like, holy cow, that is like cinema quality right there. That doesn't even look like a toy.
That's right. Yeah, that could be a scene from the movie right there.
Oh. And sometimes afterwards you're shooting duds for a minute. And you're like, man, this isn't as cool, but you just always do what you think of. And one day before, you're not going to be paying attention. One day you're going to snap a photo and realize like, holy cow, is this now the best one I've ever done? Right. Like for the longest time, the Indy was, but I really love that Luthen now. And your taste changes. But like, it's kind of funny. Like when going through old photos, you come across like the Dynamite ones and you're just like, yeah, man, like I really killed it with that photo. That was a good one.
Yeah, for me, it's kind of like the lightning strike, right? It's like,
yeah,
I might have 30 of them that they're okay, in my opinion, they're all right, and then this one will just jump out, and I'm like, man, this is a good one here, you know what I'm saying?
But I'm always, good or bad, I'm always having fun doing it, and sometimes you're just doing whatever throughout your day, and you come up with this idea in your head, and you're like, oh, that's what it's when I get home, I'm setting that up,
For sure.
But it's always, the best ones are all, I have to say it, the world building is my favorite, but the 6 inches are the most photogenic figures.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're like movie stars. You put them in a shot and they're going to sell it. Like it's their job. It's kind of funny how much they want to sell that photo. You just got to put them in the right environment.
That's right.
Cowboy beep boop.
Nice.
I love this.
The music that goes with this photo is hilarious because it's a spaghetti western track, and somebody's whistling in it, and it sounds just like R2.
Oh.
Yeah, I think the music is a big actor in a lot of these photos as well. It's like for me, I'm a huge fan of music, and for me, it's like sometimes the music will make, I'll actually generate a post from hearing a song or something, and sometimes, it's the picture will choose the music for me, you know what I'm saying? So it's like,
the music definitely adds a whole great layer to it.
I don't always use music, but it's like, that's kind of my way to sort of express myself, I guess. I'm a huge fan of music and like all types. So, anyway. So yeah, that's a great shot.
It can create a whole vibe for the shot. Funny enough, that's like that R2 is a Taco Bell toy that like opened up and had a smaller Leia inside it. But all I did was glue Woody's hat to him and painted some grime over him to make him look a little extra dirty. And when I like take that to toy shows, that's everyone's favorite figure that they always see. My customs are like, oh, this cowboy R2D2 is hilarious. So go figure. That was just like a lazy build and everybody loves it.
Yeah, I thought that one was excellent, and I would have never thought that it wasn't a vintage collection or a Hasbro, toy or something like that. But yeah, the background is awesome for sure. It definitely has like that a desert, feel to it. Mos Eisley or Mos whatever.
Yeah, that's one of my Mos Eisley diorama backgrounds. Whenever I do shots in Mos Eisley, I call it like my area. My made up world building area of Mos Eisley is called Bantha Alley.
Okay.
So that was in Bantha Alley. If you want to put a name behind it.
I don't know if you just clicked on Ian's, but hey, Ian, I appreciate you staying up for us. Thank you.
Thank
you.
You.
Wow.
Yeah, have a
Thanks
good.
for catching the show, man.
Yes. Very nice. Oh yeah, I like this.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
All my custom Rhodians, yeah.
Rhodians. I wish they would make more, of them.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's why I made a whole bunch. Is they're such a great background alien. They're just silly. They're awesome. But the very first custom figure I made was the one in the Bosk outfit in the center, the yellow spacesuit one. That was my very first custom figure.
Gotcha.
Cool.
And then the girl in black to his right, that's like my most recent custom figure. Was that custom Rhodian?
Cool, man. That's cool. What figure did you use for that, or figures?
For the lady, that is the body of Pirates of the Caribbean 3, Elizabeth Swann in the black pirate dress, in the black Chinese pirate dress.
Nice.
Okay.
And the hands were retro Greedo from the like the old figure, the very first Greedo figure. I had already used his head on the guy in white to the left, but I had the body and the hands, so I glued the hands on there. And then the head, there's a website you can go to called scoundrelstock.com, and he prints all kinds of custom heads from Star Wars, either 6 or 375. Gotcha. And he had some lady Rhodians, and there aren't like any female Rhodian figures. There's the one from the Jabba's Dancers. That's it.
Yep.
And I wanted some ladies to go with the men, so there she is. She's got like this female hairdo.
I know it's not really a thing that's really wanted, I guess, by the community as far as like the people who mostly buy Star Wars figures. But man, I would love to have, just random female aliens, and I would love to have kids, alien kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it fills in the city.
Yeah, it's not because they're not all adults walking around there. I mean, there are kids in those cities and setups too, but you have to make them yourself. I mean, it's they've got to they got the Anakins.
There are plenty of Anakins, and there are others. There are other bodies you can use, but it is a little trickier to make kids than regular action figures for sure.
That's true. I love this shot, man. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Be my favorite one that you have posted, just because of the outfits. The hat, the hat is on that Nikto. The Nikto is like one of my favorite aliens, and so
they're cool.
It's like I have probably taken more pictures of the Niktos than I have probably of any other alien, like in my setup. And so, to me, that was just a wonderful shot. And
we were talking, just how am I going to top this? And then one day you set it up and you take the shot and you're like, holy cow, that's fantastic. That was another one of those where it's always going to be in the top. It looks almost like a Renaissance painting.
I was going to say, this could be a Renaissance painting hanging in a museum somewhere. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
and those are 375. Those are 3.75 inch.
It's like if that was my shot that I took, I would probably have printed that and have that hanging in my house somewhere. Just FYI.
I should do that. There are a few shots that I'd love to print out and frame.
It's just that good. That's a really good one.
Those custom heads that you see, all three of the you've got Hondo and Nako right there in the front, obviously, but the two Niktos and the Klatooinian, I got those heads again from scoundrelstock.com.
Yeah, I've got to reach out because I have, of course we don't have enough, aliens, but it's like I need, because you basically Hasbro's only got the one Nikto head and they've painted it in different variations, but you need different heads, just so you don't see all of them walking around with the same head. You know what I'm saying?
And actually, this guy prints, he'll have several different types, 3 to 6 different types of a certain alien, so you can get really creative with it.
Start looking at that for sure.
Those figures that I built are a mixture of several different brands. The main guy, the pirate, that's Captain Barbossa's body from Pirates of the Caribbean. Again, those guys, I can find those guys in loose bins for cheap, and they make great fodder for new buys. And then he's got
much figures of those.
Yeah, they do. And then he's got Doctor Strange's cape on him. And then I made some kind of pirate belt, but yeah, in a custom Nikto head. And as I was trying to make a figure, and I was putting all these parts together, it wasn't working. And all of a sudden, I started putting together this pirate Nikto, and I put that cap on him, and he looked like Napoleon with his red cape. And I was like, "That's it! Like, that's sold!" Like,
you broke the code with that one, that's for sure.
I love those moments where you see that one piece that just brings the whole thing right.
And it might have been sitting in your box or whatever for a while, like, it's not working with anything, I'm just going to keep it off to the side, and then you match it, and it's golden.
I have a stash of figures that and you like you whoops, maybe he hit the wrong button, but
maybe
he'll be back in a second, hopefully.
I think we'll keep going.
But yeah, so for sure, I think this would be I mean, this is just, I mean, hell, I still may print this off and hang it in my room somewhere. I like it that much, man.
Yeah. This is like right up there with that indie shot from earlier.
Yes. And so while he gets back here, hopefully, he didn't lose power or anything like that. But so just getting back to Figtober, it starts in 2 days. So if anybody has any last minute questions or whatever, reach out to Joel or me or somebody. Pretty much Joel is spearheading this for the most part, but I know I can reach out to Joel or whatever. But so like I said, 2 days, Figtober starts, and you guys do whatever you want to. You don't have to post a figure every day. You can post what you want, but I think for the most part, most of us are going to, try to do a few figures. I think some of us have decided we're going to try to do one a day. I've got about 16 right now that is,
Jordan's going to be doing all. And Fat Red Food here, that's going to be what it is. So I'm going to give a quick little.
Yeah, so Figtober is the month of October. We're going to use the hashtag Figtober, and it's for you to post a new custom every day for 31 days. Now, we don't have to build it the day of. That's why some of us have been working on this thing for a while, but you have to show one that you haven't that you haven't showed to anybody, that you haven't posted of. And so it can be any size. It can be vehicles. It can be creatures. Hey Timbo. Hey, thanks for watching, man. It can be anything custom, as long as it's kind of new, But that's Figtober. So
it's like we're back here. Hey.
Sorry about that. My phone ran out of battery.
No problem.
That's
it happens.
Yeah. Anyway, we were just kind of chit chatting about this, and it's a really good shot. I like this one as well.
Clean up. I think that one was called like Clean Up in Sector 2.
Nice. Yeah, I was going through your shots, and this one jumped out at me. I'm like, this is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That droid I made was really cool. That's out of a Fortnite figure and a G.I. Joe head. Pretty much a simple head swap. And then the Quarren, the squid guy, he's I put him on a Super 7 figure from Bishop from Aliens that splits in half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. What G.I. Joe figure was that? Was that a Cobra guy or something?
The G.I. Joe?
Yeah. Was that a Cobra head?
The head
On that Fortnite figure?
That was okay. So the head was given to me at Kit Bash Club. I'm not sure exactly what character it belongs to. It slides up and there's a guy's face underneath. I think it's a Cobra character, but I'm not sure which one.
Yeah, it sounds kind of Cobra-ish.
Yeah. Anyway, yes, cool shot. Cool shot. Yes. Java Long. That is a gray feather figure. Yeah, I see a lot of people
gray feather.
Different things.
That turned out really well.
Probably one of the better Fortnite figures that they've released as far as like a robot figure.
Man, those Fortnite figures are perfect for customizing. They're just so cool.
Yeah.
Great articulation. That's another great shot. Yeah.
Yeah, I love this shot. I love, it's like I love shiny stormtroopers, but then I love when they're like dirtied up as well. You know what I'm saying? And
now those figures were made by Sci-Fi Diorama Guy, another person in Kit Bash Club, if you want to look up either one. And he specializes in dirtying up troops and selling custom troopers, and he makes some really cool troopers. So those troopers are made by Sci-Fi Diorama Guy, and you can look him up and order some from him if you like them.
Awesome. Yeah.
And now he's the one that also makes that Advantage stand.
Bingo.
Right?
Yeah. I've got one. I've got an Advantage display, so it's a really great display board.
Oh, excellent.
Yes. That dewback, that Power of the Force dewback, I think is still my favorite one. I mean, the Black Series one is, the Vintage Collection one is awesome, but I've just still always loved that Power of the Force dewback. That was the best thing out of that line.
I want to say I definitely like that head better on that one than I do on the other one for sure. It's a more likable head. You know what I'm saying? It's a better one in my opinion.
And I just ended up later on, I ended up painting the eyes because I didn't like them being that red color. So I painted them like black with like little white dot pupils, so they looked a little bit more like movie accurate. But still a great figure.
Yeah. Yes. These are a couple of custom.
These guys.
Yeah, those are some old ones.
Yeah, I went back to like last year on some of your stuff and pulled it on there. I like those guys.
So what do you use for like the fur on his jacket?
Just ask that.
So at a thrift store, I found a little kid's hoodie for like a toddler, but it was plush like a teddy bear. It even had teddy bear ears. And I love the fabric so much, I used it for so I bought it. It was cheap. And I've just been cutting it up slowly and using it for either hair or saddle. And it's great fabric. You can, when it comes to customizing, use whatever works, whether it's fabric, whether it's plastics. And you don't have to buy this stuff expensive. Look around for junk.
You bought a kid's jacket? Is that what you said?
It was a little kid's hoodie.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Whatever works, right? So
yeah.
Yes. Let's see here. All right, let's see what we have next. Yeah, this one was really good. I like this one a lot too.
Great shot. Yeah. One custom, and then the rest are legit Star Wars toys. I love Jawas. I think they're some of my favorite creatures in the whole Star Wars universe. Just little sneaky junkers.
So where do you stand in the so I guess did you see the set they're releasing, I guess at the first of the year with it's the Mos Eisley diorama with the Jawa? Have you seen that?
The Cantina?
Well, not the Cantina, but it's
the small like
street of Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea for a diorama. Because you can interconnect them and they come with some cool junk. Who knows what they're charging for it? I hope they're not charging like too much.
I have a feeling
$60. I think it's
$60. But the way I see it is I'll get one of those and I'll have the diorama and the Jawa. And the good thing about it is they're selling it on Amazon. So if you frequent Amazon very often, I don't mind paying full price for one of them. But I know within the 3 months to 4 or 5 months after that, they will drop the price on that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely pick up a couple more after the price drops, because I won't mind paying $40 for a figure and a diorama piece, that I can use, versus the 60.
I think that was a good diorama, and we'll see how the price goes. But if I find it for the right price online or wherever, I'll probably pick one up.
Yeah, I think Jawas should be figures just like stormtroopers that every 3 to 6 months they ought to put one in a wave, in my opinion, to release, just because I think they're kind of iconic characters. They're not like a named character like Luke or Han or any of those people, but it's like they're good background characters.
I really loved the way they came out with Jawas, where they were coming with the little robots that were on the sandcrawler. So each Jawa has something unique that comes with it. I think that's a great idea too.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is, or I shouldn't say funny, but it's like they came with a lot of droids, during that time frame, and then now they don't do anything like that anymore. It's just pretty much just one figure, and that's all you get. You don't really get it. Now they charge you, $25 for that, but anyway, it's just the world we live in now, I guess. But Jawas to me are like some of the coolest, creatures, they're small, and so you can
always add some great comedic value to the shot. That's right. So like, what they're thinking watching him work.
Yeah, you can always, and they're always good for scenes with droids and stuff like that. And they're always stealing shit. So you can always blame, missing by the Jawas,
Jabalong in Toy City asks about the Toyman show in St. Louis. Yeah, I guess they do it 8 times a year. It's just every few months. It's at the Machinist Hall in Bridgeton, and it's been going on for, over 20 years now. And it's a great toy convention in St. Louis to buy action figures and to haggle with people and stuff. They've got Instagram. I know they're all over social media. So if you just look up Toyman Toy Show and follow them on social media, you'll see all the photos and the flyers and stuff.
Well, I knew before I met you and the sci-fi diorama guy, Forge was always talking about, STC Forge was always talking about the Toyman conventions and stuff like that. And so that's the first I heard of it. And so anyway, he was always posting about or talking about when he was going there or whatever. And so if it was just a couple hours closer, man, it's like it would be like a no-brainer for me to go to. But I'll definitely go to one at some point in time. But it's like, I gotta have
one day. You have the toy show, but St. Louis has a lot of fun stuff to do. You come up for the weekend and make it part of it.
That's right. Yeah, I sort of got to work around that pretty much, make my weekend around that. But yeah, that's really good stuff, man. I know that I want to say that I think I first met you on, I guess, the World Makers Consortium. I think you were on that.
Yeah, with Rad Toys. That was a great time.
Yeah. And so, I love seeing what you do. And like I said, man, it's great work. I love seeing, I love getting inspired by people that I follow, just because, I like what I do, but I like to see what everybody else is doing as well, because to me, that's fun. That's fun for me, because it's like, I want to see other people's stuff, because I don't want to just stare at my stuff all day long,
And plus somebody, looking at other people's stuff might fuel ideas for your own stuff. You might
absolutely. Inspiration is like fusion, man. Somebody gives you a great idea, you do something, and then somebody who follows you also gets caught by it. And it's everything I do is because I've been watching you guys. Everybody, Lord of Thane and all the stations that I love to follow and see what they're up to. It's just sometimes when I've got the brain fog and I can't come up with any creativity, I go online and see what people are doing, and it puts me in the mood to go downstairs and set up a cool shot.
That's right.
Totally.
Do you mostly let me ask you this. What other lines do you normally use, in your shots, besides, Hasbro? Do you get any of the, like the Eagle Force or the Dom Novel Legends or Acid Rain or Joy Toy,
The Acid Rain and Joy Toys have been a little bit out of my budget, but I absolutely would love to work with some of those. I use whatever I get my hand on. A lot of Star Wars, but also G.I. Joe is a really good one. I've used a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean because you can mismatch that with Star Wars tech and it flows.
Mm-hmm.
No Eagle Force, but I
check out the Pirates of the Caribbean because I'll have to check that line out because I guess I've missed those figures, and so that looks like they would definitely add to the customs.
Yeah, they're around. When I find them in loose bins at the action figure stores or the toy conventions. You know what size works, and let's see what else. Super 7. I've used a bunch of them. Fortnite, and I'll repaint them and stuff and give them new accessories. But anything that that works. The Dime Novel Legends, like you mentioned, the Chicken Frag toys. That's a really awesome line. I've gotten one guy out of it, and I want to get more.
Yes, the Dime Novel Legends. I will say that I probably have about maybe 6 or 7 of those guys.
That's awesome.
And they, to me, it's like if you find a certain, like I found a few that were like perfect, for Star Wars, esque type, figures. Not all of them, but I mean, you can pretty much with a little bit of paint, and changing up an appearance of a figure, you can make it pretty much whatever you want to. But
and the Dime Novel Legends, they work great because it's cowboy themed, which Star Wars is basically a Western in space.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love when people put Biff heads on like the cowboy bodies. To me, that's like funny as hell, because it's like there's a Biff, a cowboy Biff or something, and sometimes they'll put like one of the hats on top of this big head, it's just for comedy, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, Joel, I'm sure.
Also with the Joy Toy, they had like a mech mechanic line, and I saw somebody use a bunch of Star Wars heads to make. Was that, I don't know who that was.
I think Lord of Thane might have done that first. I think.
Yeah, he had the Biff and like the green guy, and those look so cool. I definitely want to get some of those guys to try my own.
Yeah, it's like when I see something like that, I'm like, damn, I wish I'd have thought of that first. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's like you can only have so many figures and so many ideas, floating around to where, it's like, I love, like I said, I love coming up with stuff that I see, that I'm like, oh, I think this is cool, because it's like you were talking about earlier about how, you would basically photograph. You would basically photograph the same figure, over and over again because it's once. I mean, that's just what you get when you buy a Star Wars figure, But if you customize it or whatever, you can get a different use out of it. And so, for me, it's like the first thing I do when I pretty much get a new vintage collection figure or something, I immediately like pop the head off and start putting other heads on there to see if that's going to make it, have a look for a custom, and so.
Yeah, or trying some of the jackets or capes that you've kept in stash, like switching those around. And
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, man, great stuff. I think that's all of the pictures. Yeah, great stuff. I definitely.
This picture you took, real quick, sorry to interrupt, cracks me up because I was watching the show where somebody mentioned that was poison ivy, and now I can't unsee it because we have that stuff growing all over Missouri.
This was actually Winzilla's, Josh's shot that he's got the T-Rex, and yeah, it was funny. Somebody said, but it was poison ivy, and so yeah, that was like funny. And so I said, hey. I said I'm just going to use this shot to close out the pictures going forward, just because it's funny, and then there's that story behind it as well. So
That's funny.
But yeah, man, really good stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, is there anything that you're working on right now that you want to throw out there? Or?
Yeah, I actually have them behind me. A few prototypes and stuff that's in the way out. This one I just finished this afternoon before the show. This is my Mon Calamari fishmonger.
Oh, nice.
He's basically somebody you'd find on the wharf. Whoops, there we go. That's a little better.
That's awesome. So, what's the figure of that basically? What's the recipe?
He was G.I. Joe. I believe this was Shipwreck.
Oh, okay.
And I cut his forearms off.
Yes, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, I do. That's awesome.
So
the apron is from one of those Ergnocks from Power of the Force.
Sweet.
So there's that.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
Yeah. So I know the Shipwreck you're talking about. Is that the one that came out that was made? Well, I was gonna say, I think they sold those at like the Dollar General. I think maybe
the ones that you can unscrew the back and it has a rubber band.
Okay.
But it's not like the old ones. It's when they kind of came out with a newer line of them.
Right.
This is going to be just like a handmaiden or something. I'm trying to make sure she doesn't fall off. But this is a female Rhodian.
Nice.
And I made her from this is so weird with the camera being opposite. I made her from a Jurassic World figure. I can't remember which character. That was my dog, not me. I have a little French bulldog sitting there.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely will have a different look for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then these heads, these are all again the ones I ordered from Scoundrel Stock. And like one more, these Jurassic World figures are freaking great. This was I forget the character's name again. It was
wait, no, that's the girl, right?
Yeah, the redheaded chick from Jurassic World. And then Jyn Erso's vest. I haven't painted the head yet, but I've got a holster on her. And I'm going to paint the shirt as well.
The heads you got from the Scoundrel Stock, right?
Yeah, this one with the tail that wraps around the neck.
That's awesome. Yeah. I definitely might have to pull the trigger on some of those because I need a little bit more variety than what I got, because there's only so many Jabba's goons and stuff like that. They don't really have, If
you want to make background aliens, it's a great source for different alien species heads. And he's not the only one. He's the one that I've been primarily shopping with. But there are tons of guys online and on Instagram you can find that sell custom 3D printed stuff. I really like Twi'leks, and so I've been building a whole army of like really articulated ones. This is another one that's coming along. I haven't painted yet, but I've basically got the raw figure of it. It was like a corpse figure.
Okay,
and
that's cool. Yeah,
I don't know what color she's going to be yet, but this is the beginning stage.
Galaxy would be digging those.
Mm-hmm.
They work great.
Yeah. Awesome.
There's that.
All right. Well, Bob, is there anything you have to say before we get out of here?
No, not much. Just still working on Snake Mountain. It's coming along section by section. And
you got how many sections you got left? Just one?
Just one section left, and then a couple of other things I want to build up after that. So
okay. Let's see here. I guess base of that corpse figure is really nice also.
Yeah, it's a good head sculpt.
Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
Beta Ray Bob at Outer Rim Multiverse. Love following you guys. This is great being on the show. Sorry, my phone ran out of battery. And the second half, when I had to take the headphones out to charge it, it's kind of, the volume's real low, so it's hard to hear. So I have to be real close to the camera.
Well, we definitely appreciate
no problem.
You. Sure. All right, Bob. So, do we want to say anything about next week, or just leave that for now?
We'll leave it for now, but we do want to say thank you to all the folks that have been coming out in the chat, chatting with us. Also, thank you to all those that rewatch it later.
That's for sure.
We like you all. If you enjoy what you've been seeing, Give us a little like. It helps.
Yes. Thanks to all who watch this either live or in the replay. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I guess with that, I guess we're gonna just go ahead and end it, and I guess have a good weekend, everybody, and we'll see you
next week.